I'm Brenda Cool, and I'm here today in Peg Leg Speed Shop as the navigator for Renata, our Sport 14 Moto Guzzi. And this is my pilot, Jonas San.
Thank you, Navigator Brenda. So today we'd like to talk to you or share what we've done to this motorcycle since we've got it. So I've had this in the shop now for a year and a month. And when it arrived in a crate from Italy, the motorcycle was mostly restored. It took me between 4 and 5 minutes to actually get it running the first time. So what we started with was an actual running, operating, nicely painted motorcycle. All of the changes that we've done here have been to inspect and make sure things are solid, make sure they're safe. And then we made some of the changes that we're allowed to make to an old motorcycle for the Motorcycle Cannonball Race for safety. So namely, there's 3 areas that we can make those kinds of changes. We can update the lights for safety, we can update the wheels for safety, and we can update or add brakes for safety. We did all of those, and the result is what you see here today. So if we come in and look, I'm actually going to grab an example wheel here to show you the difference. This is the original front wheel. There's a drum brake on the outside. The original front wheel has 36 fairly skinny spokes. The replacement wheel, it's the same size, it runs the same tire, but it has 40 much thicker spokes. The wheel hub itself, it's got a little bit more substance to it. All we had to do to fit this wheel to the motorcycle is make a bushing for the old 12mm axle to fit in what is a modern 3/4 inch axle sized wheel. So we made those bushings, and now we've got a front wheel that's a lot sturdier, a lot stiffer. It's going to be handle the bumps of the road, crossing railroad tracks, things like that. It's going to handle it a lot better and a lot safer. The last thing even the Cannonball folks want to have happen is break a bunch of spokes and end up having a crash. That might be a terrible end to what should have been a great day. So that's that, and we'd updated all 3 wheels the same way. We can look at the lights, and actually, let's do a demo real quick. And this is an antique wooden crate that I found in Dad's barn. It actually says made in Italy on it, so it's perfect for this bike. But inside the crate, it's all the new technology. We're using regular old lithium-ion batteries. This is something you would use, a 12-volt battery in a Milwaukee electric tool. Put the battery in, and we have lights. So if we come around, we've got a headlight, high and low beam. We have turn signals. There's a right turn, a left turn. And while the signals are on, we should come around to the other side of the bike. We should take a look at the running lights we put on the side. We have done night riding with this maybe twice now, and we are very visible, so very safe. Should be very visible to other motorists. Have a look at the look from the back. So we added a tail light and turn signal on the rear fender to kind of match the rear of the motorcycle. And there's our lights. Now, in addition, for Cannonball, we do have a flashing strobe light. That's something a bicyclist would use. And if we happen to be riding in foggy conditions or dark conditions or going through a dark tunnel, the Cannonball organizers are requiring us to have that light and attach it somewhere as high as possible. So we would attach it on the back of the beer box here and have that. I also have with me a bicycle headlamp that we can use to be seen if this light were to fail for any reason. One thing I'm missing up here right now is a mirror. So we are required to have mirrors. I think I'm only required to have one, but I really like to have 2 because I like to see behind me. We're even going to have a handlebar mounted in here.
And we're going to have 2 on this side,
yeah.
apparently. I can adjust my lipstick when I get into some of the
sure
towns.
But being a motorcycle rider yourself, you would also prefer to be able to have a view.
Yeah. I've been holding up my phone to look behind me because I'm checking to make sure Jonas sees all the traffic that's passing us.
Yeah. So another thing we added a loud Uga horn. That's just for fun. Nice 12-volt horn there. If you look, for those of you who really know what you're looking at, for the last couple months, we've been running a modern dirt bike carburetor. It is undersized for this 500cc engine, and it does restrict us from going as fast as we should, but it's kept us on the road while we're rebuilding the original carburetors, the period original carburetors that we have to use for the Cannonball race. You can see I got a pair of Motorcycle Cannonball running boards. That's for me. If you can imagine, I am a little taller and a little heavier than your average Italian man in 1928. So being able to put my feet out here is going to make it a little bit more comfortable for those long days on the road. Speaking of my comfort, we also added on the seat, I updated the springs. They're twice as strong as the original. Otherwise, I was bottoming out. This seat was nicely covered when we got it. I didn't have to change that, but I did take the cover off and I added a gel pad inside the seat that's going to add to my comfort, and a nice leather pad here on the back of the beer box. It's going to add to my comfort as well. So we think as far as comfort goes, we're ready.
Yeah, we worked on the seat in the sidecar for quite a few months now, and we're working right now on foot position. So after spending 6, 7 hours riding in the rain a few weeks back, we discovered that maybe we needed to adjust the seat. We got a new black covered seat that's a little bit lower, so we can slide down in the sidecar a little bit more easily. We've got 3 foot positions, so we can have knees out, legs straight, legs partially bent. So we're running a little bit more comfortable with different positions for our legs to be in.
Yeah. And
So,
something so cool we just installed today. This is a retro, I mean, it's newly manufactured, but it's made in the exact same way that a windscreen would have been made for cars or sidecars in the 1920s. And it's adjustable. We can tilt it forward and back so we can get a good wind deflection and keep the bugs off the ladies. But it probably brings us to the most significant change we've made to the bike, and that is in how we stop the bike, and that is with brakes. So the original equipment on a sidecar Moto Guzzi from this era, from 1928, 29, 30 model years, would have been a drum brake on the rear, and the original drum brake was good, and it definitely stopped the motorcycle. Had a drum brake on the front wheel, which even after being rebuilt, it really only just held the motorcycle still after you stopped. So, and the way this front end, girder front end works, if a modern disc brake was put up here and you hit the brake hard, it would create such a force on this, eventually it would probably tear the front end apart. So we opted to move this brake, so it's operated with this hand, same as it would before, but instead of stopping this wheel, it stops this wheel back here on the sidecar. If you come in here and look, we've got our wheels are adapted from what is a very common Harley Davidson front wheel part from about 1975 to 1999. The brake disc itself is also a Harley Davidson part, and then the brake caliper here is something that you would find on an ATV or a dirt bike. But the combination here with the leverage is giving us more than enough stopping power. And between the two different wheels, I've gotten very comfortable slowing the bike down, coming into a turn, whether I'm going left or right. On the same, pretty much same kind of setup, just a little bit different brackets and a little different mounting for the cylinder, but same thing. And we even got lucky and got golden brake calipers that kind of match the color of the pinstriping on the bike. And there you have it.
and the stopping power is amazing. I've noticed the difference just in the last few times we've been out, that we're able to control the way she stops and is pulling left and right depending on what brake we're using.
Yeah, you can
So
feel it.
I've really noticed that difference, and that makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
And that pretty much sums up the things that we've spent the last year working on to get this vintage motorcycle Cannonball ready. I'm Jonas Zahn from Peg Leg Speed Shop.